Hello, friends of Lance. It's Saturday night, June 13th, and Brazil has just tied 1-1 with Morocco, the third place team from the World Cup. The draw with Morocco isn't a result that surprised many people, but it surprised Marcianaca in a bad way.
The national team's performance was disappointing. Yeah, in the first half, there were a lot of mistakes. In playing out from the back, Paquetá making a lot of errors, Igor Thiago not being able to hold on to the ball. Yeah, Ibaez was a bit nervous. It's something we were even talking about in the press box that there were three players making their World Cup debut, right? Ibaez, Igor Thiago, and Douglas Santos. Douglas Santos, in my opinion, was one of the best players on the team in this match. I completely agree. He was good at marking, tried to support as well, and made a cross for Paquetá to try to score with a volley. Yeah, for me, he was one of the highlights of the team's debut. I also really liked Bruno Guimarães. He was also very good until he was substituted. Yeah, but it's a result that was a bit concerning, mainly because of the mistakes in playing out from the back. Brazil gave Morocco many chances in the first half, but Morocco couldn't capitalize. Yeah, things got better with the substitutions. There were substitutions in the second half. Matheus Cunha came in and did really well for the team, and Rafinha was also playing very poorly. Yeah, Vini played well there in the first half, but I still think Vini couldn't repeat the kind of performance he has at Real Madrid. Yeah, I think sometimes he makes some wrong decisions, makes some wrong choices in the game. Yes, so I think from Antelot's press conference too, from the way he answered some questions, his answers were a bit harsher. Yeah, I believe that was the press conference where he seemed most bothered by the journalists' questions. So it's something like he himself must be worried about what he saw on the field. Danilo coming in also improved the team. Casemiro was arriving very late in some plays. We even asked if Casemiro had felt anything that led to him being substituted. He said no in the mixed zone. So I think Ancelotti will have to review some of the decisions he made for this debut, especially the right back, which forward he's going to start. I believe Matheus Cunha will be the starter in the game against Haiti. I think it's very unlikely that Igor Thiago will become a starter for the team again. Especially in this immediate sequence, he'll end up becoming an option for the coach. I don't know if Dusan saw it that way too. But I think Brazil needs to play better against Haiti. No matter which team he chooses, I believe they'll win. We just wonder what the score will be and if Brazil will play well, right?
Regarding Rafinha and Vini Jr., Vini Jr., I agree, played a better match than he had been playing for the Brazilian national team, especially in the first half. In the second half, I agree with Yana that he made some bad decisions, including there was an attempt at a backheel pass during a Brazilian counterattack. At the end of the game, it could have maybe, who knows, been the winning goal. Bad choice, backheel pass. Rafinha once again couldn't play a good match. He started on the right, but there was nothing there. Then he went to the left. After that, he moved to the midfield. Yeah, it seems like he's afraid to take a shot at goal. In the second half, he got in free there. Yeah, along the end line, he was afraid to take a shot at goal. Maybe, yeah, he could have had better luck. Another ongoing concern for the national team, Brazil has now conceded a goal in 6 straight games. Antilote has pointed out before that it's another mistake. First of all, I've said before that I'm convinced the team that concedes the fewest goals has the best chance of being champion. Brazil has gone 6 games without being able to keep a clean sheet since last year, okay? The last friendly match last year was also against Tunisia, and they conceded a goal. They conceded a goal in the March FIFA window in both preparatory friendlies, and today, a mistake by the defense.
Gabriel Magalhães, it seemed to me that he expected Marquinhos to be behind him. He mistimed the ball a bit there. And then Dusan, we were even talking about it yesterday. Yeah, Dusan said, man, Gabriel Magalhães only played 3 games with Ancelotti. I can't recall if all 3 games included Marquinhos. So at most, he played 3 games with Marquinhos, if Marquinhos started in those 3 games. So really, there's just a little bit missing maybe in terms of understanding between the two. Maybe that's something Ancelotti will work on during the week. Yeah, but the national team needs to improve a lot.
Another important thing, 3 players got yellow cards in this game, right?
And Banhos, Casemiro, 3 or 2, Casemiro and Banhos got yellow cards in this game. There wasn't a third one. We were unsure for a moment when Vini committed a slightly harder foul, whether he would get a yellow card or not, but he did get the yellow card. Yeah, so we already have 2 players at risk of suspension. Yellow cards reset only in the quarterfinals. That's correct.
2 yellow cards lead to a suspension.
It's 2 yellow cards. And also remember that Casemiro missed some knockout stage matches precisely because he got that second yellow card. So the national team tomorrow,
Since Anak mentioned that elimination by Belgium in 2018, Casemiro didn't play, which is why Fernandinho was on the field.
it's important. This is the first time we've seen Neymar here in the United States. Neymar was on the field.
We're talking about Neymar again.
We're talking about Neymar again. Neymar went onto the field and talked to some people there, stayed on the bench as he was injured, right? According to the lineup released by FIFA. Yeah, according to someone we know, he's getting better, and the tendency is that this week he'll already start doing more intense training. Today, he already did some work earlier at the team's hotel, together with the fitness and physiotherapy staff. So Neymar might already be fit next week to start training with the ball, and we'll start to see a bit more of Neymar on the field. Yeah, what's certain is that tomorrow the team will have a light training session, a recovery session at the New York Red Bulls training center. The expectation is that the press won't be allowed into this training session. And then starting Monday, we'll start to see what Ancelotti wants to do for the game against Haiti over there in Philadelphia, the second game. It's a game that I think will be key for qualifying for where they finish in the group. Yeah, Scotland is playing against Haiti. Yeah, Brazil has to get a high score there to try at least to stay in first place in the group, right?
Just going back a bit to the Neymar situation, his appearance was very symbolic today because since Neymar showed up on May 25th at Granja Comari, he did that MRI at the end of the 25th. Since then, he appeared on the field at Granja on the 27th, jogging a bit, and this was our first time seeing Neymar in person in the United States, not just in photos and videos.
He was
Very relaxed, he had the trionda in his hand. At no point did he kick the ball, but he kept passing the ball from one hand to the other, controlling it with his chest. There was a moment when he held the ball behind his back like this, just watching his teammates. And of course, he was the main attraction before the game, waving to the fans. And while the players were lining up there to sing the anthem, Neymar walked around the field to head toward the bench. And there was a battalion of photographers ready to capture the player's entrance. And all of them turned, well, almost all of them turned to Neymar to take the shot. Neymar, of course, is the big attraction here in the United States. Another interesting thing before the game is that I met 6 fans from Bangladesh, 4, 3 of them wearing the Brazilian national team jersey, 2 with the Argentina national team jersey, and 1 neutral. And then I asked them, Neymar, Messi, or Vini Jr.? 3 voted for Neymar, 1 voted for Messi, 1 voted for both Messi and Neymar, and 1 voted for Vini Jr. But the most interesting thing is that one of the votes for Neymar came from a guy who was supporting Argentina. Okay? So he prefers him.
Just to remind you, Vini Jr. was chosen as the best player on the field. He also talked to the press there in the mixed zone, spoke just a little, and complained about the pitch, okay? We mentioned that from up there. It was cold. He said the pitch was very dry, and we even noticed at halftime that they were watering the pitch a lot for the second half. Maybe that's why the team improved a bit during the game. Yeah, but that's it. Brazil needs to improve. We'll do recovery work. Tomorrow, Monday, they start preparing for the game against Haiti. And we hope to see improvements, and I believe we will see changes in this team for the second match of the group stage in Group C, right?
To wrap up 80,633 fans here at Match Live, the stadium was practically full. Yeah, until yesterday, Brazil's group stage match in the World Cup had sold more VIP boxes than the final. Of course, that might change depending on who advances. Yeah, but there was a huge Brazilian crowd, the vast majority in the stadium. The fans arrived excited and left kind of quiet, right?
That's true. The fans even tried to cheer them on, but I noticed more silence than cheers for the national team. I think the performance also didn't help the fans get too excited, but we remember that Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia in the 2022 World Cup and ended up being world champions, right? So let's hope the same story repeats itself here in the United States.
Just one last behind the scenes detail. The press box was on the 6th floor of the stadium, and to get to the Antelope press conference, the press had to go down the same stairs used by the fans. So I went down 6 flights of stairs and half the crowd was there. It was kind of quiet. We didn't see fans shouting Brazil, Brazil. And we also didn't see anyone complaining. So people left kind of numb from what they saw on the field. We need to remember that it's Brazil's World Cup opener, even though Brazil has 13 players who have already played, who played in the last World Cup, has an experienced coach, and has players who are champions with the biggest clubs in the world. The first match is always harder, your legs feel heavy, there's all that anxiety. And as Yanaka mentioned, the next game is against Haiti. An easier opponent, yes, it has to be the easiest opponent in the group. Apparently, it will be whoever scores the most goals against Haiti who will end up taking first place in the group. So I think this week is for working, thinking, of course, about increasing the goal difference against Haiti. But for that, they'll probably have to change that. I agree.
But you know what I think makes me a little less worried? It's that the coach left the game irritated. That's it. Antelope wasn't that coach who gives those press conferences saying the team did well, will improve. No, he left really irritated. He also went through the mixed zone looking really upset. Another one who left the mixed zone looking upset was Ibais. He left wearing a cap and didn't look very satisfied with his performance. I don't even think Ibais was as much at fault as Paquetá, who missed a lot of passes that gave Morocco some very dangerous chances against our goal. Yeah, but anyway, Antelope left irritated. That makes me a little less worried because I think he saw the same game we did, and he's likely to make changes to the team for the second match of the group stage.
That's it, folks. We'll stop here. Follow all the build up and all the news about the Brazilian national team here at Lance. See you soon. Thanks.
Thanks. So,